Morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the Water and Sewer Utility Committee meeting today, Monday, July 28th, 2025. Order of business, we'll call the meeting to order. And do we have an approval of the agenda? Approved by Councilor Matar and Mayor Brown.
Yeah.
Any declarations of conflict of interest? No, seeing none. Adoption of the previous draft special minutes of June 5th, 2025. Moved by Mayor Brown, second by Councilor Matar. Any business arising from those minutes? No. Seeing nothing. So now we'll go into discussions and reports and utility vehicle use. Joshua McGinnis, Utility Manager. Take it away, Josh.
Sure, thank you, Chair. So this is a report what we just didn't have time to cover in our last meeting, so we'll go over it today. It's about our water and sewer utility vehicle use, so that's for our utility vehicles. Purpose of this report is to inform committee, basically how our vehicles are used within the utility. And there's no recommendation coming from this at this time, it's just for informational purposes. The water and sewer utility follows the City of Charlottetown use of vehicle policy when assigning utility vehicles to staff members. All employees are expected to abide by this policy, as well as other provincial and federal rules and regulations pertaining to the operation of motor vehicles on highways. So basically, we're just stating there that we follow city policy and any particular driving laws that may be applicable for the use. So the use of this vehicle policy details the limitations and expectations for use of city-owned vehicles. Section 1.2 of this policy states that city vehicles shall be provided to departments as determined by council and assigned to employees as determined most appropriately by the department manager or designate for the purposes of performing departmental responsibilities and functions. Additionally, within section 2.0 categories, the policy further details categories of approved vehicle use. Within there, we have employees who drive city vehicles to carry out their duties who are not authorized to use those vehicles for personal use. Employees who drive emergency vehicles to carry out their work duties are not authorized to use the vehicle for personal use. And employees who drive city vehicles to carry out their work duties and due to the nature of those duties are authorized to use those vehicles for personal use. Currently, within the utility, there are 3 positions whose vehicle use authorization fall under the 3rd category, the personal use potential. The 3 positions are the water and sewer pumping station maintenance worker, water and sewer station maintenance assistant, and the works field supervisor. So all 3 of these positions have an expectation of 24/7, 365 responsiveness in the event of operational issues and are routinely required to attend to water and sewer facilities throughout the city into areas that are located outside of city boundaries, particularly our well fields and distribution systems. Personal use is kind of a broad term used to describe any vehicle use that is not directly for city business. So this could include direct travel to, from, home or work. The only authorized personal use for utility vehicles, as stated above, is for travel to, home, and the work site directly with no stops kind of in between. So this allows these 3 positions to report directly to a work site, reducing response times and remedying issues more promptly. 3 of the 4 city well fields are actually situated en route to the office for 2 of our station workers. So this authorized vehicle use cuts response times to less than half when compared to traveling fully to the office, then turning around and returning back to the well field. Vehicle use authorizations have been advantageous to the utility's operations and will continue to be utilized. As with any permissions-based system, permissions may be reduced or revoked. In the event use authorizations are being abused, the utility will review the situation and make corrective actions or discipline up to and including dismissal. So basically, we'll monitor the situation, and if there's anything that's awry, we'll do our best to remedy that.
Thank you, Josh. I mean, that's a good report, and I had questions on that. So you say routinely, so does our workers have to go to the wellfield site routinely? Like, I know I think there's a couple of people that would go to near Morel, or if not further, and that'll be like 45 kilometers one way, so it'd be, you know, some like 100 kilometers a day, which is 500 kilometers a week. You know, does the utility require them to stop in at the well field sites or the pumping stations once or twice a week, or like how often do they have to do that?
Yep, absolutely. So it is routine. I'd have to get an exact number for you, but they're there, if not daily, every second day they'd be between the sites themselves. So they're there all the time. Yep. So there's lots of equipment to look at and maintain. They do have to do water samples at various locations. There's a lot of electronics that they do have to look at daily, and they check the systems.
So would that be the 4 sites? Like
Yep.
Suffolk, Brackley?
Exactly, Suffolk, Brackley, Milton Vale, and Union as well. Yeah, so they do have to go out and do their standard operations and checks they do. There's meters there that they have to check and ensure the accuracy of, and our treatment system, so our chlorine gas, that's all located out at the well field, so they have to go check tanks if they're exchanging tanks.
So would one have to go, like it just seems like a lot, right?
Yeah,
So
they
have 2
typically,
trucks,
yeah, divide and conquer, so one will go one spot, and one go the other until a time they needed to. If there was a particular procedure that you need 2 individuals, then both of them would arrive at the same site and work on it that way.
so you feel that this is a great savings for the city?
Absolutely, yes, yeah, because in the event they did have to report to work, which happens all the time, they get call outs in the middle of the night. They'd have to come all the way into Brackley to the facility, get the vehicle, and then potentially head all the way back out to Suffolk. Whereas right now, they could stop at Suffolk and then turn around and go home. Once the issue was remedied, absolutely.
Anybody have any questions on that?
So, the reason you brought it forth for a reporter to have this discussion, is this just part of what you do annually on this, or was there some?
No, that came from me. I had a call, there was a concern about it. So I brought it forward and asked Josh to look into it, give us some information. Because, you know, we have 2 trucks going that far, you know, is that a good use of the tax-paying money for the city? So that's why I asked him to bring it here, so we could have a discussion on it. That's where it came from.
So Josh, can I just ask on page 6, of employees who drive city vehicles to carry out their work duties and due to the nature of those duties are authorized to use those vehicles for personal use, but in the first bullet, it says employees who drive city vehicles to carry out their work duties who are not authorized to use those vehicles. It's pretty wide scope in the use of the vehicle, but do you think there's misuse?
There could be,
What?
I don't see it on, or I haven't seen it yet, but there could be misuse, and with any policy, there's a potential for misuse, whether it's vehicle use or any kind of purpose. But that's what the policy is there for, is kind of dictate how we would follow those rules. If they're outdated or antiquated, then that's something we'd have to look at and update a policy and kind of manage it that way.
Right, but all the vehicles have our corporate logo on the side.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
There was a time that we didn't have corporate logos and employees were driving them to Moncton and other places, wherever they were going, personal or professional. But I can't see that we have employees that are misusing our vehicles.
No,
I don't think there is that at all.
No, absolutely. I haven't witnessed it, and all the vehicles are equipped with our GPS system, so you know where they're going, when they're going, and how long they've been there, so. It'd be a hard system to try to get around, because, you know, Big Brother is watching essentially.
Yeah, so we have that automated vehicle locator in all our vehicles, right?
Yeah.
So we can tell where it is at real time and also archives.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
the concern I had, and was brought forward to me, that'd be 1,000 kilometers a week, right, for 2 vehicles traveling back and forth to work. And you know, the fuel, the whereabouts on the vehicles, you know, are we getting a good bang for our buck here?
Right.
You know, it's different if you live in, say, anywhere. That's a large amount of kilometers, I would think, to
Right.
myself. So, you know, that's why I brought it forward, to see where we're at with that.
So are we up to 1,000, like, is that a number that?
I'd have to look into those numbers, yeah.
Right, but, Mr. Chair, when you're talking about the protection of our water wells,
yeah.
it's very important that we have staff that are ready and willing to go out anytime, they're not on a time clock, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that, to me, is dedication to the service of the corporation.
What has that got to do with the trucks, is what I'm
Because
asking.
they're using the vehicles to go to the well fields. So instead of going back to the plant, pick up the truck, like, there's a lot of, as he said, you know, efficiency of time is of the essence for some of these employees, because they're doing it, they're not on a clock, they're not on a time clock, they're basically going out, checking to make sure the systems are working,
They
correct?
wouldn't be checking now, that'd be concern, right? Like, they're not just going on their own to check, there'd either be a
No.
breakdown that they'd have to
Yeah.
use the vehicle to go, but they're not using it to check. I'm saying is, if you're going from here to Morel every day, and you don't stop by the well field or stop by, is it a good use? That's what I'm saying. And the city shouldn't be paying for that unless you're getting a service for it. And that's where my concern was. Is there something going on? Are they leaving Morel, coming back in and checking on something, or is it just a way of back and forth?
Yeah, absolutely. So routinely, they do get call outs, and they end up coming back middle of the night with the vehicle, to go and check on it. Absolutely, yeah. And then during their, their 9 to 5 or their 7:30 to 3:30, they do attend all the facilities, absolutely.
Sure. And there's no question of that, because we're working, it's just the constant back and forth. That's why I brought it here, so we could discuss it.
Mr. Chair, do we have employees in Morel? Why do you say Morel?
Well, a couple of the vehicles would go to Morel, that's where they live, out that area. That's where I come up with the, 500 kilometers a week, I don't know if they live in Morel, but it's, it was brought to my attention that they were close to Morel, so that'd be a daily, back and forth, which would be 100 kilometers, right? That's a concern, I don't know these people, I don't know who lives in Morel, or if they live in Morel, or down to Panetta, or wherever.
Yeah.
That was brought to my attention, so.
That's only 3 positions.
Yep.
That's what you state here in your.
Yep, there's only 3 positions that have that use authorization, absolutely.
It's much better now than it was back in early 2000. Vehicles didn't have the
Sure.
corporate logo, and I think with the AVL and the GPS, it's fine.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? No questions, okay, we'll go down to B. Fiber optic update.
Thank you, Chair. So this update's kinda very short and brief. There's not much to report at all. We are pushing forward with the contractor to get an agreement together so we can present to you. We did have it attached to our last meeting, not so much this one. There's only, I think, 1 or 2 outstanding points on the agreement that the contractor and the utility are coming to terms with, but I do believe we're very close there. Any outstanding issues are basically repairs to the system that would have been damaged by third parties, so any contractor within the city. I think there's 3 locations that UCC is seeking resolution with the contractors on. And then we're working with our legal team and UCC's legal team to try to push that contract to a position we can give it to you for review and approval, or.
Okay, Josh, thank you. When did this contract, when was it signed?
2019?
Right here, sir, it says the contract was signed August 2nd, 2019.
Okay.
And
So,
the project start date commenced on November 1st, 2019, with the initial completion date of March 27th, 2020.
okay,
And we've been around this table since then.
now let's come to a point here. I'll just open the floor. Anybody have any questions before we get into it? Anybody have any questions about what we're doing?
So, 3 contractors. We know who those, we know who they are, right? We know who these contractors are. Are we approaching them, or is UCC approaching them?
So UCC primarily, absolutely, where it was, or it is their contract to install the network. It is their responsibility to maintain it until it's officially turned over to the utility or the city. So it's their onus to ensure that it is maintained until we take full ownership of it.
So where's the general contractor on this? WM&M? Williams Earth McLeod? Where are they at? Are they involved?
I believe they're attempting to assist Daniel or assist UCC.
Okay. And then that letter from May 28th from Maritime Electric regarding trespassing on provincial parcel number 338921, lands owned by Maritime Electric. Has that been resolved?
I'd have to look into that one.
That's from Stuart McKelvey. That's their lawyer. And UCC's lawyer is?
It would depend,
John Pink?
it would depend on, I guess, the issue at hand, but we have heard Pink Larkin.
Okay. And under the IRU, it's ongoing. So the 100 volts that are around the city, have they been spliced?
Yes,
They're all connected.
our understanding, yes.
They're all,
Yep.
okay. So it's ready to fire up.
Yep, once there's an agreement in place, basically, we would bring in our side of the infrastructure, which is connecting to the fiber that's there.
Yeah.
And then it should be in a position that it could be lit.
So if I went down to the vault here and by Big Donald Bell, it's all spliced.
Yep, that's what we've been informed, and the photos provided by UCC, excuse me.
And Coles Associates, have they verified the photos or
I'd
verified the?
have to confirm that, yeah.
Okay, you're gonna confirm that, okay. Thank you, Josh.
Yep, certainly.
Go ahead, Councilor
So,
McAleer.
so there was talk, and I think it was, either this committee or council, probably this committee that, or wasn't it during the last budgetary process that trying to get an independent audit done of this thing to get
Yeah.
to where we keep hearing, we think this, we think that, where's the general contractor, where is UCC, is there any benefit to having some kind of a third party confirm where literally this thing is, or I'm not
And Mr. Chair,
I'm not familiar with.
Mr. Chair, I can tell you that we did go down that road. We did go to tender, right? And we never followed up with the tender.
Yes, and that was a lot to do with myself. I had full thoughts that we were going to get to the finish line. And that's why I had full faith and we were close, but every month we're close. Every month our legal team is working on things and we're very close. Every month we're told the same thing, that, we just hold on, but now we're entering our 6th year and we're no more closer than we were every other month. So I'm in full agreement of doing anything that would take us to the finish line here. If that's an independent audit, if that's getting someone else to come in, it's well worth it, because there's just no finish line here. It just keeps going monthly. So, we put it on the agenda last month to talk about it and we never got anywhere, so we moved it here. So I'm looking for the committee's support to try to do something.
Well, and just further to that, Chair, I know when speaking with one-on-one meeting with our current CAO, Brad McConnell, I expressed this, certainly as a concern of mine, that I'd like to see the committee, this group or whatever we have to do to advance this file, and hopefully he gets engaged. He said he wanted to get up to speed on it, and I'm hoping that's the case, and that we get to an end point with this.
Yeah.
And he's I think he's I don't know how important, I assume it would be somewhat helpful. His technology lens and skill set should lend itself to digging in on this and helping us advance it, because it's time to it's time to close the file.
There's still quite a bit of work to do though, I would assume, from a legal and contractual standpoint.
Well, let's find out what it is.
I would suspect, like that our IRU still has to come in through here, come to council for approval. I think at one point in time, they were looking for a 25-year agreement on that IRU. I feel like we still got a lot of work to do just from an approval perspective. So I'm not sure where we at with the legal stuff and the contract.
Absolutely, so we're just going on what would be a reasonable insurance requirement for the UCC. We're settling on that with them, and then we bring that agreement to the table, and then we go back to council for approval and review. So,
See a lot of back and forth.
Well, there's still, but in all due respect, Josh, you know, we've been listening to that, you know, since you've been a manager, but we've been listening to that for 2 or 3, 4 years before that it's coming.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's in our legal hands, you know, at that time, we can't, I think it was last month or the month before, nobody could find them. So, you know, how do you progress? There's gotta be something that we can do to get this to the finish line. And this doesn't seem to be a letter written to our lawyers, to his lawyers, we're not coming there. As it shows, 6 years when a contract should have been done earlier. And it's probably a lot of my fault too, that, you know, we've given so much leeway. You know, it's getting done, we're almost here, we're, you know, down Kent Street, it's gonna be done, but it's not. You know, and now we're looking at here, well, we're close, we're no more closer than we were a year ago, you know, for a legal perspective. So you're saying, you know, it's gotta come somewhere, so we gotta do something. This is the problem. We've been, in good faith, we've allowed it to continue, but it's time now to stop it and get somebody to help us finish this. My opinion.
So to this, isn't there, it's my understanding of, correct me if I'm wrong, and Richard, you may know this with your history, isn't there federal funding in this thing already that's contingent upon this thing getting completed and hooked up? Am I,
Already taken care of.
so we're not vulnerable there in any way in terms of not completing something?
We've accepted federal funding for a project that hasn't been completed, and we haven't reaped any benefits of this project as of yet.
That aspect was completed. Should kinda, anything we get into on legal now, we shouldn't discuss in an open forum. But we will bring you something next month.
Well, we've heard that time and time again, Richard, with all due respect,
I understood.
you know, this is going on near 6 years. You know, we're gonna have to do something. Any recommendation, Mayor Brown?
I want,
In favor of mediation of some sort?
no, I'm willing to go back to what we talked about, was it last year?
Sure.
Doing an audit. I think, did we not go out to tender?
I believe we did, yeah,
And we did, to get 1 or 2 submissions.
I'd have to confirm, yeah.
And is that dormant now? Is that, do we have to go back out to tender?
It would very likely have to go back out.
I'm proposing that we go out to tender to do an audit on the fiber network and our IRU. Go with the same tender, but just repost it. That's what I'm
But we gotta be
suggesting.
careful in doing that. Does that get us any further? I guess that's where we need, I mean, that's to verify some things, the concerns of whether or not the infrastructure is at a standard or is at a completion level of what we expect it to be. So that's gonna check off that box, which would be great. But is that gonna actually move us any closer to finalizing this deal too? That's the other component. How do we get to there? Cause that's, I think what the chair is saying, if we gotta get to that. Cause the update earlier there was, you indicated that all things were done and completed. You seem to be accepting of that, Mayor Brown, in the sense of all the boxes out there being all ready to go and to be lit up.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going based on what we're told. We don't know that to be.
but I'm not a splicer and I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
exactly. Yeah,
done.
so we don't know 100%.
So that's why I'd like to have a third party.
But I think that addresses that concern. But then does it address the concern of how do we finalize this? how do we actually get this thing in place?
So I mean, I was part of this committee 6 years ago.
Yeah.
When it started, and I thought it was a great idea, but nowhere did I ever think it would last this long. So there wasn't a completion date on the contract?
There was.
I know, but so it's gone way past that.
Yeah.
So there's no penalties in place?
So, Mr. Chair, there is the IRU, indefeasible right of use, for 25 years. I'm concerned that I would like to have a third party do a review of the work before we even look at anything else. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking to go back out to tender using the same tender document, just refresh it and go out for 2 weeks and see what happens.
Mr. Chair, yeah, and I know, Mr. Chair, I don't know if it, would help you. I shared that, I talked with the CAO. I don't know if there'd be any benefit in yourself doing the same sort of thing, talking with our own technology people and Richard's got history. Let's dig into this and push it and get some kind of solution.
Well, part of that digging in is to do a third party audit.
So be it, yeah,
I move it.
second it.
Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Like I said, we gotta get somewhere.
Yeah.
And to see if this is all true, I mean, how could it keep going for 6 years and if there's no oversight, nobody's saying, okay, this is what happened, this is what you should do, the legal mumbo jumbo back and forth, we have to get it closed. This is not acceptable, so if that's gonna help,
Yeah.
we'll move that, let's move on.
And does that require, Mr. Chair, just point of order, does that require a resolution? Like, I move that we do we refresh the audit that we went out to tender last year, I believe, and that we go back out to tender on it.
Sure, but would that have to go to council?
Yep.
Yep.
That's great. Moved by yourself, seconded by Council McAleer, and prepare that, move on.
Yep.
Keep going. We have to do something, I mean, it's. Okay, that issue's over, go down to the next one. Josh, I guess you're on the table for everyone, are you?
Yes, today I am. Let me get situated here. So this report is on water and sewer infrastructure. It's to inform the committee of infrastructure plans, and it's for informational purposes. Get into the report details here. So the Infrastructure and Asset Management Department had engaged CBCL and Upland to create a management strategy for the city of Charlottetown. This was to include water and sewer master plans. This report was delivered in September of 2022. The growth management strategy had primarily focused on the transportation, stormwater, sanitary sewer, and potable water networks. This had reviewed the system attributes, physical condition, where available, age, operational philosophy, current use, and effectiveness. Additionally, a review of potential growth areas was undertaken to better understand future servicing requirements and how existing infrastructure could be affected. Recommendations were provided to facilitate long-term goals and to mitigate or prepare for anticipated system demands. So the downtown core had been identified as an area with future high anticipated infrastructure demands. This is primarily due to the age of the existing infrastructure and the overall physical asset decline associated with extended time in service. In an effort to maximize the use of available funding, the replacement of buried infrastructure, the utility coordinates with the Public Works Department in their street resurfacing program. So this coordination allows for cost sharing of excavation, backfill, and material costs. Whereas if the utility were to replace infrastructure on their own, all costs would be borne by the utility. Just as a little bit of a background here, the utility has over 300 kilometers of water mains and around 280 kilometers of sewer mains, all buried infrastructure. So assuming if we had 100-year service life for this infrastructure, the utility would be required to replace approximately 3 kilometers of infrastructure per year. which is a huge undertaking. If we utilize some of the recent tender results, assuming the utility bears all costs, this could equate to a recurring increase of approximately $28 million to the annual capital budget for construction costs. There would be additional funding requirements for engineering, design, and consulting fees. Now, those are a rough number, they could be higher or lower, based on the work involved on each particular street. But unfortunately, infrastructure replacement is not always linear, and there may be years where required replacements are significantly greater, or maybe some years you could get by with a little bit less. So in the absence of significant partner funding, whether that was provincial or federal, the utility would be required to increase the service rate substantially in order to achieve that proactive infrastructure renewal. We're very fortunate here in Charlottetown with the makeup of our soil. It's not aggressive, or most areas are not aggressive on the materials we have been installing. As well, a lot of the original infrastructure has served us extraordinarily well. It's in good condition, especially given its age and vintage. But it is something we need to be very conscious of and look into the future how we are gonna manage that without having kind of a sticker shock to our residents with rates. So that's just kind of an FYI that, you know, if we were to look at a 100-year kind of turnaround on all infrastructure citywide, there would be a substantial impact to our bottom line.
Any questions?
Can't think of anything.
I just wonder where are we going, Josh? Like where do we start? So if something breaks, we fix it, or if Public Works is doing the street, then we go in and do it. But if that doesn't occur, are we still looking at how we're gonna get there? Like, are we still looking yearly? Or is it in our budget to repair a certain amount, or no? Is it every year, are we asking for federal funding or provincial funding, or is there anything that we can do proactively to get this on site?
Absolutely, no, we are always seeking that funding, we always have our eyes open, and when that's available, we aggressively go after it, so if there's any funding streams available, we definitely try to get those, that way we can utilize as much partner funding as possible, whether that's provincial or federal. That way we can maximize our dollars that are going into it. But it does come down to kind of prioritizing that and seeing which streets should come first. We do have a kind of a plan in place there, and just a matter of following that. But in the meantime, yeah, we're fixing issues as they arise and making that
So you do have a
prioritization.
plan of worst case or same as the paving, right?
Yep.
There's a certain area you're looking at,
absolutely, yeah.
it's a plan. Okay, any questions, anybody?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Just kinda on that, like in the last budget cycle with the capital budget, didn't we had, well, I guess probably maybe the last 2 years, if I think about it, perhaps we had was it kind of downtown Charlottetown, Steve Dunn and that group, talking about Sydney Street and that whole kinda underwater stuff down there that trying maybe to tie it in with some federal stuff or projects as it related to Province House. Is there something that we're hoping could maybe happen there in terms of funding, or?
I don't know if I'm completely aware of the example given, but we're always looking, and we will seek to get that funding if there's something available. I know there was a project that was looking to move forward, and they did seek utility assistance in renewing the infrastructure on the particular streets they were looking at, but it does come down to replacing the worst first, and that street was maybe not particularly worst first, so we'll always look to do that.
So, Mr. Chair, if you go to the growth management study, September 2022, it's on our website. Structure of the report, there's 2 chapters, Chapter 3, Water System Master Plan, Chapter 4, Sanitary System Master Plan. So Josh or Richard, in either chapter, does it make reference to this 1% you talk about? That, page 11 of our digital copy, that infrastructure replacement is not always linear, and there may be years where your required replacements are greater than 1% per year. 1% of what? Of the utility budget?
No, 1% of the infrastructure in the ground. So if we had a 100-year service life, assuming,
Yeah.
let's assume
Yeah.
whatever pipe we put in the ground, we're gonna replace in 100 years. That's kinda what the 100-year service life would be, so we have pipes in the ground now that are significantly older than 100 years, and then we have everything in between there. So if you assumed that we had 100 years to replace everything, you would quite linearly, like we'd do 1% this year, 1% next year, and then by the time you got finished with that 100-year cycle, you'd be back to the next 1% you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
just
my
a way to structure it, that way you always have a
My
move
question is,
forward.
Joss,
Yep.
is that 1% in that growth management study?
No,
Or, oh, so you guys, that's your number?
Yep.
So then you say that utilizing recent tender results, assuming the utility bears all costs, this would equate to a recurring increase of approximately $28 million on the annual capital budget for construction costs.
Is that every year?
that'd be every year for that 1%. The tender results we had for Passmore Street was about $9,500 per meter. Now, that did include your full street reconstruction, your sidewalk, and your storm. There would be some cost sharing there between Public Works on streets as we did that, but as an absolute worst case, that's quite literally very recent pricing. That if we did a full street rebuild, you're looking, $9,500 per meter if we bore the full cost.
That's water only, then you have to have sanitary. That's for both?
No, that'd be for both, that'd be for water and sewer, yeah.
But also, he said the other costs associated, other infrastructure.
Engineering,
No,
yeah.
but he said sidewalks and engineering were also included in that 28 million, and they'd have to recoup that from Public Works. That's the total cost for the whole project.
Yeah, if we were to dictate what streets, like if we had infrastructure, but Public Works had something that was only 10 or 15 years old, like the top was, reasonable shape, they would not wanna be responsible for the full cost of asphalt and sidewalk, because, well, in their mind, rightfully so as well, they still have a lot of service life. But if we go and replace our infrastructure on our own accord, without any kind of concern for the surface level assets, we would be responsible for the lion's share of that.
So could I ask, Mr. Chair, so that 28 million is cost shared with Public Works and water and wastewater?
That would be our direct cost, if
That'd be their
we
cost.
dictated everything, yeah.
And
That would include your water, your stormwater, water and sewer, and any kind of surface asset.
but you're not responsible for stormwater, you're responsible for water and sanitary.
No, but if we tore the street out,
And then it says there would be additional funding requirements for engineering, design, and consultant fees. But the part, Mr. Chair, it says in the absence of significant partner funding, provincial or federal, the utility will be required to increase their service rate substantially in order to achieve proactive infrastructural renewal. I'd like to I'm gonna read over those 2 chapters again, just to say, what are they recommending?
Yep.
Are they recommending what yours says that, they're not recommending the 1%, that's a departmental decision, right? And you have 300 kilometers of water mains and 280.
Almost the same, almost the same, 300 and 280.
300.
It's just,
Yeah, but I guess I understand your point. The growth management strategy, if it says to replace 0.5% a year versus 1, they're coming up with a formula of 1%.
Right,
You're
that's,
saying the growth management strategy could be less, or actually could be more.
could be,
depending on
that's what I
it
wanna,
is.
yeah, and the
dive
percent
into
there just gives you an idea of if you did 1% per year, that's an estimated cost. If we did 0.5% a year, it'd be 14 million.
So
If we did 2%, it'd be 50 million.
So, Mr. Chair, this study went on from 2019 to 2022. So, Richard, do you know what's in those chapters? 'Cause
I do, so.
does it
and
say
we-
1%?
And we have that 1% is simple math.
Okay, so simple math, is that simple math in chapter 3 and chapter 4,
There-
recommendations from the consultants?
It needs to be more than that because
Oh.
a lot of our infrastructure has already exceeded the 100 years. So 1% that's math. That's 1/100th of something that's gonna last 100 years.
Well, I know what 1% is, but they recommend more,
Yes.
percentage-wise? Do they give the percentage or just,
No,
how do they use simple math?
They broke out some projects that we need to do and we've put in a funding application to the federal and provincial government on the sanitary sewer side. That's one of the applications we recently submitted.
And this is not unique to Charlottetown either. Every municipality in Canada is in a very similar infrastructure situation where things were put in, things ran
Like lead pipes?
well, absolutely. And now everybody's in a very similar situation where infrastructure is starting to age out and it's major financial contributions they're looking for.
And then also why we are working so closely with Public Works. You wanna do a street, cause you can't replace the water and sewer infrastructure without impacting the sidewalk and the asphalt above. So that's why we're doing our projects in cooperation with Public Works.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. More questions?
No.
Good. Okay, down to D. Welfare Protection Plan.
Thank you, Chair. Again, wellfield protection plans, that's our report here. It's informed committee of our plans for wellfield protection, and this is for informational purposes. So the water and sewer utility recognizes the significance of protecting Charlottetown's water sources. Currently, Charlottetown sources water from 4 well fields located in Miltonville Park, Brackley, Union, and Suffolk. The 4 well fields draw water from 2 watersheds. These watersheds are the Winter River and Coles Creek. In 2016, Juice Environmental Consulting was engaged by the city to develop wellfield protection plans as required by the Department of Communities, Land and Environment. These plans identified current land use and activities within the various travel zones. So that's the 250-day travel zone, 5-year travel zone, and 25-year travel zone. This plan also proposed strategies for the mitigation of potential risks to the water supply. The main risks identified included applications of pesticides or fertilizers, the use of road salts, fuel storage locations, and private septic systems. Other potential risks included manure storage locations, poorly constructed private groundwater wells, as an example. As the majority of city well fields are located outside of city boundaries, the most effective method to address non-conforming property development and mitigate the above-mentioned risks was identified to be land acquisition. Additionally, coordination with neighboring municipalities to update or amend existing bylaws and official plans to limit development and land use risks within the wellfield protection zones was a top recommendation. So the utility has worked with our neighboring municipalities and the province to implement administrative changes to protect wellfield areas. Additionally, the utility has purchased land within the protection zones to limit development and control land use. Most recently, which is just this past month, the utility had acquired 16.2 acres in Brackley. This parcel did fall within our 250-day travel zone, which is our most important zone. Once we obtain all of that, we would look further out. But the utility will continue to seek available lands within the wellfield protection zones, firstly focusing on the 250-day travel zone, and then we'll continue to work with our neighbors in the province to further administrative protections for lands not within the control of the city.
Thank you, Josh. I was just wondering, there was a lady that wrote in, somebody bought land beside our well field. So at that point, that's why I was concerned, you know, where have we gone with the 4 well fields? Have we purchased any land? That was in Suffolk, or where did she say? I think that was in Suffolk.
Suffolk. Yep.
Do we ever purchase any land besides what we just purchased?
Yep, we have, I think the one we just did in Brackley, before that would have been Milton Vale, for the well field. And then as parcels become available, I know there's additional parcels that we have been in discussion with. And probably last year would have been the most recent one. But just nothing kinda materialized from that, but we're always looking.
So we have $1 million set aside, right? So do we actively pursue land beside, I mean, I know you said we bought the Milton Vale well field, right?
Yep.
But are we actively protecting those well fields? Are we actively going out and looking for land?
Yep, absolutely, so.
So
when-
what happened with this Suffolk one? Like if that was close to our well field, how did someone else buy it when we couldn't buy it?
I'm not aware of the Suffolk one, but there is one in Milton Vale where we became aware of, so we're looking to expand and purchase a parcel out there as well to further protection efforts. As they become available, if we're not completely aware, if someone knows, then let us know and we'll definitely look at that, and if it's something feasible, then we'll seek to purchase that as well.
So what's feasible?
Well,
We have a
financially
mil-
responsible, like
We
we
have $1
can't,
million
Yep.
put in our budget to actively pursue stuff.
yep, absolutely.
Just thinking, well, you know, as I've been here for 6 years on this committee, I've never known us to go out and purchase land. Besides what we did last month.
Yep.
So, you know, why do we keep putting it in? You know, and I know we put it in, and it looks good, but we don't use it, and we've used part of it to pay other bills. So that's the concerning thing. If we're putting it in the budget and we vote on it, why aren't we someone actively pursuing around, you say the 250-day thing? So if you take those 4 well fields, you know, somebody's gotta say, okay, what's the land in that area, and let's go out and look at it, right? Instead of saying, wait till someone puts a sign up and, you know. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, thank you for bringing that up, because I was waiting for the opportunity, but, so my question was going to be is, what is the strategy around, you know, when we talk about continue to seek available lands? You know, I think from landowners who may be in and around those areas, they would have maybe someone would have no idea that that's even an option for them. As the chair said, sometimes a sign goes up, and then obviously sometimes somebody may proactively contact the city, and say, would you be interested in purchasing land? Would there be any value, Mr. Chair, in having any sort of information session that would be inviting landowners in and around those areas to come into water and sewer and understand that there is this desire to do so, and maybe it might spark some awareness that that's not even out there. Like maybe nobody knows that the city's looking to protect the well fields and purchase land.
It's true.
There may be some who are, you know, that you may have heard of proactively. I'm just wondering, like I say, because each year, if we're just gonna sit around and wait for someone to knock on our door, that may never come about.
Well, you have the maps, we have the
You know,
maps
the
there.
kids that are all around there.
Yeah, you know that, you
Yep.
know those people that own them, right? So let's make a plan moving forward to at least contact them and see what we can do, right? And that's a proactive way of protecting it, right?
Yep.
In my mind.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm getting at. So we would, let's say there's 50 people we're talking about here,
That's
50
right.
pit owners, and we're basically, the city would like to talk to you about well field protection and the things that we can and can't do, and possibility of purchasing land, and it might turn into some successful outcomes depending on
You never know, I mean, some people might wanna donate it for a tax
Yeah,
receipt or something, something, you never know, could be. So we'll move forward on that, Josh, if,
Absolutely, yeah, we can come up with a kind of a communications plan. We'll start with the 250-day zone and just inform individuals that if they are looking to sell or if there's a parcel that they wanna kind of part with, then we'd like our first crack at it, yeah.
did you have a question?
Mr. Chair, through you two or whatever, to maybe Josh or, where are we, is there, there was discussion around this too, that perhaps the province might be a partner in this kind of thing if they had a similar objective and saw this as a, I guess, you know, a worthy or noble cause. Is there province,
So primarily, I believe their input would be administrative, so they can, limit use, and then kind of go down that route more so than being partners in landowners. There are other environmental groups that we could partner with if it was a area that was strategic for them as well. And we're always open to that. So we'll definitely keep our eyes open and work with the province. Administratively, it's a good first step, but the best protection is when you own it, cause then you can control it and limit use on it.
So this, we've heard it before about the Nature Conservancy of Canada. Have they been contacted, or are they in our? Are they, a partner that would work with us on something like that?
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
So,
Yep.
so have they ever came forward to look to help, or?
We have partnered with them before, yep, absolutely. It's more, if we had something we were looking at, we would reach out to them more than them reaching out to us, unless they had some special circumstance. Then
So
they.
if we come up with a plan around the 250, we could approach them.
Yep.
To see if they could help us.
Do
Absolutely.
they have funds available to support that kind of thing?
I don't think they have funds. They're an advocacy group. But we do have a letter, Mr. Chair, that we sent to the Honorable Steve Myers and also sent it to Blois Thompson about municipal water supply should be protected from potentially harmful development, and a starting point could be the inclusion of the provincial, this came from you, Richard, Provincial Alternative Land Use Services Program. ALUS supports the maintenance, enhancement, and production of ecological goods and services to reduce soil erosion, improve air and water quality. Falls right within that. The province has a program. And this letter was signed by Mayor Ogden, Mayor Minerva McCourt, myself, and Mayor Dan Kutcher. Haven't heard back from them yet. I think, should we not follow up on this? This is coming on to a year that, I guess, when we send letters, maybe they don't get to them. But if it goes by email, it would come back not delivered. So there's no response. I'd like to follow up on that too, Josh and Rich. Richard, I think you wrote the letter that I sent to Mr. Myers, and then you said you recommended it should be also sent to Blois Thompson, because ALUS program, that falls under agriculture.
Sure.
And it's not just a 250-day area. What's the next level up?
500?
5 year.
5 year.
5 year.
I'd go with 5 year. These are important well fields to all of us. And if our water gets contaminated, it's not good.
But I think that plan should include, bringing in these stakeholders,
Yes,
bringing in the community that is, that essentially owns them properties, and try to come up with a plan
Fully
around
agree.
what that looks like.
with provincial representation.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
like the idea of a program.
I'm gonna ask the chair to spearhead that.
It's like a campaign in a sense, right? A little bit of a campaign that might need to happen.
We have enough administrative people to do that.
No, Judge, work with the chair.
Yeah, no, we're good.
I'll second
Okay,
it.
we're good with that?
Yes,
Okay, we'll go down to vacancies, utility staff vacancies. We have this last two quick ones there, they gotta get going.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair. So this is utility staff and vacancies. It's just informational purposes. So this is an update to a previous report we had. I'll go through it quickly. Basically, the vacancies we currently have are the assistant manager. We as well have a superintendent at the wastewater treatment plant that's vacant. We have maintenance and construction worker. These are part-time positions. There's positions available there. Our account receivable computer clerk. This position is vacant. We also have more recently a technician 1 position become available. This is a retirement. And then a maintenance and construction worker as well. So these 2 positions are kind of recent ones, but we're actively recruiting for all vacancies within the department. Some require a higher level of technical or managerial capability, and then the availability of qualified and interested candidates has been a challenge. We'll continue to work with our human resources department to put out these competitions and find qualified individuals.
Okay, any questions on the job?
Yeah, can I just ask a general question? Just curious, I paid my water and sewer bill online, have been for a while now. So do you have any idea how many people do that, rough percentage of our residents?
I could find that for you. I don't have the number right on me, but yeah. I'd have to dig in and get that
At
number.
one point, Josh, it was up to about 1,700 customers. That's what Spry Point, right?
So there's still probably a fair few come in here.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So I would say there's fewer online than come in, but they're slowly progressing towards that. It is a convenience. It's just some individuals are a little bit hesitant on the online.
Cause I think there is some, anyway. That's good, thanks.
No, good, thank you.
Vacancies, good. Okay, moving down to the superintendent, Josh.
Okay. It's Josh's job. Manager.
I'll just take 50% of the salary. So utility staffing, this is for the wastewater treatment plant superintendent. This is to inform committee of the efforts to date and for informational purposes at this time. So the Charlottetown the wastewater treatment plant is a level 4 treatment facility with a dedicated team of 9 operational employees and 1 administrative employee, as well as the 1 superintendent that is vacant at this time. So the wastewater treatment plant is a secondary treatment facility with UV disinfection and is a highly automated and mechanized facility. The level 4 treatment facility designation is the highest classification for a wastewater treatment plant due to the complexity of the operation and the expected process outcomes. So the superintendent position oversees all capital, operational, and human resource tasks at the treatment plant. This includes budgeting for operational and capital programs, oversight of project implementation, oversight of daily operations, coordinating staffing resources, and ensuring regulatory compliance. The superintendent position is a highly skilled position, both in a technical and operational capacity, as well as in a management and human resource capacity, being the first level of response to any staffing issues. The previous superintendent had resigned in July of 2024. Since this time, the utility has been actively seeking a replacement. Initially, the position was posted on the City of Charlottetown's Employment Opportunities website, with little interest being received. Currently, the city has engaged a recruiting firm, this is Integrated Staffing Limited, to engage further candidates. To date, this has been unfruitful. Due to the technical and managerial aspects of the position, the candidate pool is generally limited to individuals already in a similar role. This means the utility is competing with the private sector and other municipalities. The utility has also entertained the possibility of recruiting a strong managerial candidate and providing the necessary technical training to bring them up to speed. The utility has received very little interest in the position, even with engaging a recruiting firm. The utility did recently make an employment offer to a candidate with a strong managerial background, but was unsuccessful. Remuneration has been a common issue when discussing the position with potential candidates. So that's just a brief history of the work put forward seeking a candidate.
So is this the same position I thought wasn't filled for 4 years? But you say this position was filled in July 24th?
So it's the same position. It was vacant for a period of time, then we had someone in for a year and a half, 2 years, and then it's become vacant again.
So we hired a company, an employment company, and that didn't work. And I brought it up last month there that the city police, you know, they've done things 2 years ago to bring in people and start them at first class rather than third class. And then this year, they decided to pay for their training and, you know, for more recruitment, right? So what are we doing? You know, you say we hired a company and the remuneration is a problem. Is this a a management position, or is this a unionized position where it would be very limited in pay?
It is a unionized position, so it's an UPSI position.
So when the union with the city police, when they did it, they'd have to have the agreement of the union, right?
Absolutely.
So could we not do the same? You know, there's something, if we can't do it and your job, you're doing the job, we have to find the funds, you know, to increase this. If we're not getting anybody, it's because of remuneration, or we feel that it's remuneration, then we have to increase it.
Absolutely, no, we're actively looking at that. I have started kind of a market scan of comparable positions across the Atlantic to see where other positions are, and then once we have that, we'll put it into a package. We'll review it internally and then see what options there are to go down that path
So what's the timeline on that?
as soon as possible.
So next month, we can expect to see some improvement,
advance-
some groundwork.
Advancement on that, absolutely.
What's the current salary range now that's advertised?
I believe the top salary is 97,000 plus minus a couple dollars.
Any questions?
And Mr. Chair, so it's QP 501, UPSI, QP 830. So UPSI is management, right? Correct. Well, you know what, Josh, I think you're taking on quite a heavy load here, managing, and then superintendent. It's a lot of work. Hopefully we can get someone to,
Well, that's
Fill
why we
that
keep
position.
trying to
I know.
help, right?
Yeah.
So we have to put pressure on whomever to see if we can help them, because you're gonna get burned out, right? Doing everything.
we don't want that, buddy.
We don't want that, no. We're doing a good job.
And
so-
Richard probably have to end up down there too.
Well, that could. Well, help out, Josh, you go on vacation, right?
Yeah.
What?
Gotta do more with less, so we're
That's
gonna have to step down.
There you go. Any questions, concerns, comments? Nothing? Trying to get it under. Introduction to new business?
Mr. Chair, just under new business quickly, when we did the tender the last time for this fiber network audit, I don't think it required a resolution to go to council. You just go to tender, and then when it comes back here, we have a recommendation.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I think, so I don't think we have to go to council with anything. I think we can just refresh that tender and put it out.
You just bring the tender results to committee and then the
yeah.
results could, yeah.
I just wanted to add that before we
Well,
left.
that's a good point.
Save some time.
Saving a step.
Huh?
Ah,
Limited step.
experience. Appreciate that. Any,
But are you gonna chair that meeting with the ministers?
sure. Can I have a motion for adjournment? Mr. Brown or Mayor Brown, Councilman Ricard. Thank you, everyone.